Jeanne.
Hi.
Jeanne, how old are you?
I'm 92. Soon to be 93.
When's your birthday?
March 30th.
Oh, happy birthday in advance.
Okay, I'll accept.
How long have you lived in Montclair?
I moved here in 1996, September 1996, from Brooklyn, New York.
From Brooklyn. Great. And I know you are quite a pianist. Can you tell me a little bit about your piano playing?
I don't want to accept that you're quite a pianist. I just want to say I am a pianist. It started at 4.5 when my mother put me on the bench, and I took formal lessons until I was about 22 or 23 after I got married. And then I took over doing Jewish work, cantatas for my temple. So I was always at the piano, but I wasn't studying. And that lasted until I was 86, when I did my last cantata here in Montclair. And I lost my husband at a very young age, and I became a school teacher at Bushwick High School in Brooklyn, New York. A wonderful school because it was a school for me. It wasn't Montclair High School. It was a school where they needed me and I needed them because I didn't know anything about teaching. And that kind of was my life. So I was always at the piano. But around 50, 55, I decided I wanted to study again. And I went back to my very first piano teacher. I figured she'll motivate me. And she did. And eventually she sent me to Leonard Eisner, who was on his way up to being a concert pianist. And I was motivated, but he moved to New York. And he kind of wanted me to be with one of his students. And that didn't work for me in my head. So I found another teacher through my piano tuner. And that was in my very early 60s. That's the beginning. That's the new beginning. Let me just say that last year we went to Hyde Park, my family reunion, and Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The way to begin is to begin." And I'm really there. And it's very exciting because just before you came, I played this wonderful piece, The Fantasy of Schumann, that Seymour Bernstein, who is now my teacher, talked about it in his documentary as the greatest. And I just played it before. And I played it the best today. I'm not playing it for you, but I played it the best. Mm-hmm. And I wonder about that. Where did it all come from? How did this happen today, of all the days, when I should be very nervous? Mm-hmm. And so at 65, I started. My teacher said, "Have you ever done a piano recital by yourself?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, you will." And that was the beginning. And it hasn't stopped. It didn't stop until I was 89, when I was losing vision. And I decided I had to stop. And I began to give little recitals in the house, 7 a week. Just get one every day. Wow, yeah. Every day, just giving the recitals. And that was the end. But it wasn't. Found out about Seymour Bernstein, and Ethan Hawke and Seymour were in the same home one night, and somehow, by the time Ethan Hawke left, he said, "I want to do a documentary on this man." And I heard about it and missed it. It was the Claridge, missed it, and said, "Okay, missed it." And then some friend said, "You got to go see that." And I went in New York. And I write letters. I wrote him a letter. And I said, "I want to take a lesson." And my friend said, who told me about this from the very beginning, he said, "Jeanne, you got to have a hook." "What's a hook?" You got to get him in the beginning. So I said, "I'm 90 years old. That's not going to work. Nothing's going to work." And it worked. And he called me. And he said, "Absolutely, when I get back from Maine, I'll be happy to give you a lesson." And the door opened. And now I have lessons. And I was going to have 50 people in here last March for my 92nd. And I got sick right before. Too much. It was too much. And so I said, "Seymour, you haven't heard me play." He said, "Well, you're going to play in my home. I've invited you. I have a fan club." I invited. And so he lives in in a 1.5-room apartment in New York, and I played that day, and it was just very, very beautiful. Oh yeah, I made some mistakes. May make some today. Doesn't matter. I don't understand, because if you don't have it, it can't come out. You got to have it. Mm-hmm. And so he opened the door, and it's pouring out of me. And he's a master teacher. He's an amazing human being, and I'm growing. And even though there's that, and in my talk, that when I answer questions, I said, own it. Own it. And that came from a physical therapist who was working with me. Don't accept it. Own it. Mm-hmm. Stand up straight and go. And I do. And Seymour performed yesterday at the All Souls Church for the Music of Viva group, celebrating 40 years of their life. And it was magnificent. And I walked in with this, own it. Sat down, listened to this man, and felt that I was in heaven on earth. That's how beautifully his playing was. And so there's one very special piece I would like to play for you. Many years ago, after my husband died, his cousin introduced me to a chorus in Long Island, directed by David Randolph, who had the Masterwork Chorus here in Morristown. And I used to go from Brooklyn to Long Island every Tuesday night. Children were young, got our sitter, and left. And Ave Verum by Mozart was one of the pieces. And I fell in love with it. And while I was a teacher in high school, I taught it there. Mm-hmm. It was very nervy on my part, but I kind of do those things. I take a chance. I don't know why, I just have to. Mm-hmm. And so Seymour wrote his memoir, and in it was his experience with Ave Verum when he was in the army in Korea. And I said, I love that piece. And he hands me the copy of it after a lesson. And I knew about the story, that he didn't know it, and he played it for one mass after another in Korea. And he sent me the arrangement for piano. It's one page. And I taught it in high school. I now have 2 choruses. I have the chorus that I had from the adult school, which started in 1998. And for some reason, they gave away my room, and I said to everybody, come to my house, we'll talk. Mm-hmm. And we formed a chorus. And that chorus is still here. Not too many of them, but still here. And then I formed another chorus from the Y, like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And now I've merged them. We meet separately, but we're going to be in the same place at the same time. Mm-hmm. We go to assisted living. That's our purpose. And they're going to get Ave Verum. I have to do it. And I have a couple of men. So I have a couple of men. And if they will just stay with me, we're going to do it. I have to do it.
That's wonderful. I'd love to hear you play.
Okay.
All right.
Ave Verum.
Great.